Hi, my name is Jen Delaney, and I'm a licensed professional counselor. And with this channel, I like to provide insightful and inspirational videos based in neuroscience with the intention of evolving and creating an optimal life. So, subscribe so that I can grow my channel. You can always check out my weekly blog at jenniferdelaney.com. So today I wanted to create a video specific to and for brain spotting therapists, but I think it could benefit everyone. So in this culture, in this fix-it culture, we like to know, we like to offer advice, and especially trained as a therapist, we often feel like we're obligated to know and offer advice. But the reality is that healing happens in a very stream of conscious subcortical way. The neocortex is the language-based center. It's our wonderful brain to solve complex problems and to offer creative solutions. But often, if we're working with our trauma, if we're working with anxiety and with the natural negative bias we're born with, it's our amygdala, it's our deep brain that's often controlling the show, which can be really baffling because, we want to fix things, we want to know. So as therapists, when clients are confused by brain spotting, we feel like we want to have the answer. So, of course, we explain the process of brain spotting, but ultimately, they don't know why it works. They don't even know why EMDR works, which is an evidence-based therapy. But it does work. Both work. And all the somatic forms work because they are tapping the deep brain. So the moments that it becomes most obvious that clients are confused is often when they're triggered by a spot. In brain spotting, we use, I'm going to get my pointer out. We use a pointer and go slowly across the line of vision. And clients will notice that one spot triggers their emotions more than other spots. Where we look affects how we feel. And so a lot of times someone will get to a spot and be on a spot and be like, well, what's happening right now is I'm just wondering why I'm so activated. Whoa, I'm having a memory I never had. Or they're remembering a part of an accident they never remembered before. Or a piece of an incident that happened when they were 4. Anyway, it's just uncanny how the spots do work to help clients access information that's important to be worked through. And sometimes clients don't want to remember some of this, but the act of remembering is what brings it from the deep brain. Because remember, the deep brain has no concept of time. So our neocortex does have a concept of time. But the deep brain is often replaying things that we've experienced again and again and again as though we're still there. So by bringing it to conscious mind, we're updating the brain. We're allowing it to know that we're no longer reliving those really frightening and traumatic moments. So the optic nerve goes right back into the brain, and they're going to discover why this process works. But in the meantime, those spots that we find for the client and with the client, because of course it's the client who's indicating where the spot is. If they don't feel it, we'll know by an eye wobble or by a response in the face that makes it very obvious that that is the correct spot to be processing from. So even though we want to know why, it's more what's that about? And even though we want to be helping someone who's struggling to understand, because sometimes a client will be on a spot for a while and not much will be happening. And here we're sitting and we're like taught that we need to know something and do something. Throw the lifesaver, when in reality it's the waiting. David Grant has an acronym WAIT, which means why am I talking? And sometimes it's in the silence that I'll notice a client will be on a spot for a while and all of a sudden they'll be like, oh, I've never thought this before. I've never remembered this. I've never experienced this moment. And that is the moment that creates the most healing possible, and we couldn't have known about it. This is why David Grant talks about staying in the tail of the comet. We're always looking for another technique that will help a client. And sometimes in the processing at the end of the session, we can present that if it feels natural, if it feels intuitive. But in the moment, sometimes the best thing we can do is to stay silent and to trust the process, trust the spot, the brain spot, trust that the bilateral music is helping, trust that our attunement, our very silent presence and holding space is part of the healing process. So hopefully this has been helpful for you, whether you're a brain spotting therapist or someone tuning in to be inspired and learn some new things about the brain. Okay, take good care. I wish you serenity, freedom, and joy.